First off, I sincerely am sorry to anyone in Arkansas who has lost everything, including their life. Secondly, I'm sorry that this is the way you have to find out that Donald Trump doesn't give a flying about you. And lastly, the dildo of consequence is never lubed. Don't forget it. Oh, and eat Sarah Huckabee.
So Sarah Sanders has asked Trump for help.
Hello, welcome back to another episode on my YouTube channel. We'll be concentrating on ANCANS, which is governed by Sarah Sanders. After ANCANS was hit by disaster tornadoes, Sarah applied for an emergency relief fund famously called FEMA, but her request was denied by Donald Trump. Let's watch.
Help in disaster relief for Arkansas and to declare a state of emergency so that she can help her constituents. You remember Sarah Sanders, the last mouthpiece Barbie, well, more like mouthpiece Jabba the Hutt with greasy hair. But anyways, he said no. And now she's begging him. And he's still saying no. The storm-ravaged state that 3 people died in, who desperately needs help. And after all the years of mouthpiecing and kissing his bootay, he has denied her and said, no, we're not going to help your little red state after your disasters. We don't do that anymore. That's not part of our policies. You don't understand. But she's still begging. And he's still saying no.
President Trump is refusing to send FEMA aid to Arkansas. Now, Arkansas is recovering from a deadly string of tornadoes that also hit Mississippi and Missouri. It left 40 Americans dead. But the Trump administration is trying to end federal assistance for disasters altogether, telling states to handle their own problems. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she used to be Trump's spokesperson, is writing letters to Trump begging him to reconsider. Now, the hypocrisy here is astounding. Sanders campaigned against the big hand of federal government meddling in states' affairs. She complained about the tyranny of socialism. But the last time Arkansas had an emergency, in 2023, President Biden sent assistance immediately. So, socialism, it's only bad when you don't need help. Now, as much as I would love to see her squirm, no American deserves to suffer. We have the money available. President Trump, please send it to Arkansas. Their governor is a slug, but their people need help.
Guys, I gotta tell you a story about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We all remember Sarah Huckabee as the chief liar in the Trump administration. And it was so fun to see her mocked on SNL. Well, guys, here's what happened to her. Okay, well, she would rail against Joe Biden for socialism and outreach from the feds. Well, guess what? There's some national disasters in Arkansas, and she's trying to get money from Trump team, and they keep denying it. Now, I do feel bad for the people of Arkansas, but you voted for this. Yeah, you voted for Trump, and you voted for Huckabee, and this is the result. Well, Trump said it's up to the states, and let that be a lesson to all you other southern states, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama. When you have a hurricane, you're not going to get help from the feds. That's right. See, this is what happens with Doge. You guys love Doge, but when you need it, now you realize, oops, I made a mistake. Now, will you guys finally see that the Republicans don't care about you in the next election? We see some of you guys at the town halls, but you guys need to make your voices heard a lot more. Otherwise, this is going to happen some more. Oh well, you voted for this. This is what happens.
I really don't understand the politicization of federal disaster relief funds. Trump has talked a lot about wanting to get rid of FEMA entirely, and he has strategically tried to deny aid in the past, but recently he denied aid for Arkansas, one of the states that was the strongest supporters of him in the aftermath of those recent tornadoes. And my question is why? What about federal disaster relief should be a political issue? This is a state that supported him, and he has in the past talked about, hey, you probably should have voted for me if you wanted any of those federal funds. I understand the revenge aspect of who he is at this point, but to not even provide it to the people that are some of your most staunch supporters makes less than 0 cents. It is such a politically toxic thing to say, I will not provide federal funding to help you recover from literal disasters. He argues that states should be able to take care of it, but they can't always. Disasters are expensive. Federal tax dollars should be provided in emergency situations for people that truly need.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. You know, karma comes around real quick in a lot of situations, and karma that we're seeing this past weekend is out of the state of Arkansas, where the governor, remember her, she used to be Trump's press secretary, Governor Sanders, Huckabee Sanders of Arkansas, is appealing the denial of FEMA funds for a declaration of emergency in Arkansas. Well, Arkansas has suffered a lot of flooding and high winds, and it has definitely caused a lot of damage. Well, the governor had asked for FEMA funds. Well, they were denied. So she's out there now trying to plead to the government to give her state those FEMA funds. Once again, this is a red state who voted for Donald Trump overwhelmingly, with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his former press secretary, that he didn't even approve it for her, because guess what? There's no money left in it, is that it comes around. What goes around comes around. So you didn't want other people to have FEMA. Well, now you, in the state of Arkansas, Governor Sanders, you don't get FEMA money either. That's how it works.
So Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders of Arkansas, who was amazing as Sloth in the Goonies, and also the Germ from the Mucinex commercials, is asking the president for federal assistance after tornadoes have touched down in the state of Arkansas. And it looks like that federal assistance request from FEMA was actually denied by him. And this is because 14 tornadoes touched down in Arkansas in the middle of March, leaving 3 unalived and dozens injured. Governor Sanders then asked for a major disaster declaration with the president, which he ended up denying. And you can pause and read this here, but they basically said that the damage was not that severe, and basically it did not warrant federal assistance. And just as a friendly reminder, in the 2024 election, Arkansas actually went pretty much red, nearly at 65% going to President Orangeman. And to me, it basically shows that President Orangeman does not care about loyalty, because Sarah Huckabee Sanders was previously in his administration in the first term, and she was basically the press secretary. And he basically just flat out denied assistance to the state, to her, as well as the people that pretty much voted for him to get him into office. Now, putting politics aside, I would actually expect any president, whether they're Democrat or Republican, to actually issue federal assistance when it comes to natural disasters and emergencies. But for some reason, the Orange Man denied it to Arkansas and the people that pretty much voted to put him in.
You guys want to know what's so sad and pathetic? Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's the governor of Arkansas. She recently requested some FEMA relief from the Trump administration. It was denied. Now her and the whole entire GOP congressional delegates are urging and begging Trump to reconsider the disaster relief denial. This is the same woman who was laughing and making fun and joking about the California fires when they were requesting FEMA and saying that they need to lift themselves by their own bootstraps. Now you're going through some issues because you guys had some storms recently, and now all of a sudden you're denied FEMA relief, and now you're begging and urging Trump to reconsider. How about you lift yourself by your own bootstrap and solve your own issues yourself? This is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about when it comes to the Republican Party. They want everyone else to suffer. They don't want to be affected. They vote against their own interests because hate for someone else that's different, because they don't think they're going to get harmed. Now look at her.
Hey y'all, it's your girl C from Arkansas. And let me tell y'all about Miss Sarah Huckabee Sanders embarrassing this whole damn state. I'm talking about pure embarrassment. Arkansas got hit with tornadoes. 40 plus people lost their lives. Towns have been wiped off the map. People have lost their homes. And when time was to get federal aid, Trump told us no. Not till Miss Sarah, who wrote this man coattail, got told no. I'm talking about she lied for this man, defended this man, even got on national TV and so up and down with a second coming. Y'all, she really sold her soul for a seat at the table, and this man sold her no in a time of need. Child, the bulletin got us nowhere because we still finna suffer. No FEMA checks, no cleanup refund, no help rebuilding. And why? Because our governor decided to be more loyal to Trump than to the state of Arkansas. Not the big bad Christian mom. Can't get help. Not from her, not from the second coming. Y'all, get in the comments and know your thoughts, and as always, the informers stay loud.
Before there was Caroline, there was Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and ooh, I hated that bitch. Now, while I do think that Caroline with 3Ks has stepped up the condescension game from behind that podium, Sarah Huckabee Sanders was like the OG of WHRBF. She is now the governor of Arkansas. And Arkansas just had a bunch of storms and tornadoes hit and caused a lot of damage. 40 people died. So after years of being faithful and so loyal to Trump, she goes to him and asks for FEMA assistance for the people of Arkansas after these horrific storms. And y'all, he denied it. He said no. He said that's the state's problem now. All of that responsibility for any disasters that come up, that's going back on the state. But where's that money coming from? And she actually appealed his denial. In a letter directly to Trump, she says, without the support of a major disaster declaration, Arkansas will face significant challenges in assuming full responsibility and achieving an effective recovery from this event. You're not going to be spared from the ramifications of his policies if you voted for him. Even the people who were his spokespeople aren't being spared. He doesn't care about anybody but himself.
We still got 1,360 more days of Donald Trump. 1,360 more days. Y'all see what he did the first 100 days already. Just imagine what is coming next. Just imagine, y'all, what is coming next. We still got 1,360 more days of Donald Trump. Can we survive? Are we gonna survive? But man, that feels like forever. That feels like forever.
Was it right for Donald Trump to deny ACA's emergency relief funds, or is it karma hitting them hard? Well, FAFO continues. Let me know what you think, family.